Joker to 3!
Hello guys, and we're here today with another crazy deck profile. This is like the height of Pot of Duality. Like, this is just Pot of Duality, Pot of Desires. This is just the most stupid deck that I have come up with Pot of Desires, and that is the 50 card Pendulum deck. And this deck, like, you might just think that, oh, it's not consistent, but it is. It is. Like, Konami has made this deck to be so crazy consistent because of all the cards that link each other, specifically Odd Eyes Phoenix and Odd Eyes Unicorn, and just the fact that the Magicians work with the Performapals, with Wisdom Eye, and the fact that Magi Spectres is attackable, Draco Slayer is attackable. This is just running all those stuff that different variants of Pendulums run. Like, some Pendulums, such as Draco Slayers, don't run Magicians. They focus more on running Master Pendulum and Rector Pendulum and Draco Overlords. But this deck, it just runs all of that stuff in a very nice balance. Now, I understand that a lot of these cards are big targets to get hit by the ban list. I honestly don't really want to see this deck get hit, seeing how they didn't win Nationals and Monarchs did. And I don't feel... I heard of Kieran getting banned. But I really don't... I'd be okay with him going to 1. If he goes to 1, just put in more Bambokus. It'd be completely fine with this deck if you just ran more Bamunkos, because he's a 5 scale, which is amazing, and he can search himself, so you can summon one and search out another one if you've already drawn into the Kieran, and then you just have a nice 5 scale in your hand. And anyways, so pretty much we're just running all that support. If stuff does come out, if stuff gets banned, you can put in cards like Angel Trumpeter and make it more synchro oriented. You can put in cards like, I'm just trying to think, Unexpected Die, yeah, that goes with Angel Trumpeter. Painful Decision, and put in more normal monsters, put in more Master Pendulums. Like, you can make this focus more on Draco Slayers, you can make this focus more on generic stuff like Angel Trumpeter. There's just so much stuff that you can do with it. So as long as this deck doesn't actually die, and the only way this deck can really die is either Konami bans key cards, like bans Luster Pendulum, bans Joker, bans Wisdom Board, put this guy to 1, put this guy to 1, or ban this. Like, this deck is still going to be alive. Like, unless Konami actually has a vendetta for this deck and decides to just completely destroy it, this deck should still be playable and should still be crazy. Now, as far as consistency goes with this deck, the first hand you open up with is really the deciding factor. Because of the fact that it's just all works very well, you're probably going to be very good. Like, you guys will see in the duels that no matter what I open up with, these are all generic stairs. There's no skill that says you can only summon Performapals or you can only summon Draco Slayers or anything like that. So there's always going to be a good skill in your hand, good skills in your hand, because it just always ends up that way. And once you start searching, once you start going through, once you summon a wizard a couple of times, or actually just once even, or you activate Skyrus, it just really helps out. And speaking of Skyrus, if the stuff gets hit, you could put in Terraforming in this deck, and it wouldn't matter, because if it got banished with Pot of Desires, it'd be like, sweet, that card got banished. So this deck is absolutely crazy. So let's just go right into everything. 2 Dragon Pit, 2 Dragon Pulse Magician, and then 1 Oath Dragon and 1 Wisdom Eye Magician. So pretty standard magicians for the most part. And of course, we're also running 3 Pendulum Call. So we have 4, 6. We have exactly 6. So you probably wouldn't... this card I wouldn't freak out if it got banished with Pot of Desires. But it's nonetheless a really great card to draw into, because you can just set up a lot of stupid plays. Like, you can ditch this guy and then be able to summon back off of this guy, of course. And yeah. And then for Draco Slayers, we're just actually running only 3 Draco Slayers, 1 Master Pendulum, 1 Luster Pendulum, and then 1 Lector Pendulum, and of course the 1 Draco Face-Off. For Odd Eyes stuff, we're running 2 Odd Eyes Pendulum Mission, 3 Sky Iris, so we can search them. 1 Odd Eyes Fusion, which is really great, just being able to make Vortex Dragon. He can be just so annoying. And then of course we're running 2 Unicorn and 2 Odd Eyes Light Phoenix. And then for Magi Spectres, we're just running the 3 Kieran and the 1 Bamboku. You can put Bamboku up and it wouldn't matter. This is a card that if it got banished, I don't know why I keep on doing that, banished with Pot of Desires, I wouldn't freak out. Now if I lost all 3 Kierans, I'd be a little bit upset. You only really need 1 Kieran, and it's just so great because it's like, oh, let me just return 1 keyboard that you pendulum summoned, or let me just return Joker, or Wisdom Eye, or just anything. There's just so many good cards that you can return to him. Bamboku even. And yeah, so now for the Performapals, running 1 keyboard, 2 Gear Turtle, 2 Lizard Draw, And then 1 Joker, of course, because that's at 1, 3 Wizard because he's at 3, and then like I said, 2 Light Phoenix and 2 Unicorn. And of course 3 Second Donkey because this is also Joker version 2. And yeah, that's it for the monsters. We're also running Maxi because helps with the consistency, and of course it's a card that we can banish, and it wouldn't matter. For onto the spells, running 1 Instant Fusion. Sucks when this card gets banished, but I really don't want to run a 51 card deck, so it's at 1. And then like, yeah, so Pot of Desires is Pot of Desires. You can draw 2 cards with it. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, you're gonna hit some cards. You're gonna get some cards banished, but I mean, like, Second Donkey, doesn't matter. If one of your wizards get banished with sorcerers, it sucks. If 2 of them gets banished, it's awful. But I mean, like, you can deal with 1 of them getting banished. Like, you can deal with Oath Dragon getting banished because this isn't reliant on one archetype. If too many of your Performapals get banished, then you maybe need to move on to your Magicians, because that's what should happen. Because you just banished all of your Performapals, so now you're gonna go into a more Magician playstyle, or maybe a more Draco Slayer playstyle, or whatever. So, and honestly, sometimes you don't even see this, and it's just the deck still is consistent because of all this searching in it. There's just so many searches. I mean, you have Odd Eyes, you have Wisdom Eye, you have Joker, you have Second Donkey, Wizard, Monkeyboard, yes, and Bumboko. There's just so much consistency, so much draw power with Guyu Turtle and another draw, just crazy. And then of course through the Pendulum Call, like I said, again, this is just great, just being able to ditch a card and get a complete scale practically. Or maybe just keep it and have monsters in your hand and have a backup scale. Like, oh, I don't want to use Magicians right now. I'd rather use Monkeyboard and Guyu Turtle because that's a little bit better. It's great backup scale just to have. 1 Soul Charge, because this is a card that if it got banished, I wouldn't complain. And if I open up with it, it's like, oh, you're gonna want to Solemn Strike me? I'm okay with that. 1 Draco Face Off, of course, because it helps us searching with pendulums and Draco Slayers and everything. And that, yeah, 3 Sky Arrows, which allows you to pop a card, and then you can search out an Odd Eyes card. So you can search out your Odd Eyes Fusion, your Odd Eyes Monsters, Odd Eyes Pendulums, and stuff like that. And then 3 Solemn Strike and 1 Solemn Warning. If they got banished with Pot of Desires, it would be kind of awful, but this is a little bit more of an aggressive deck, so it's not too awful if they do. But nonetheless, it's still very nice to have them. You definitely do want to see these. And so that is pretty much it for the main deck. Again, this deck is just half search, so that's where its consistency comes from. And you actually if you count these out currently, I mean, like if the ban list comes out and things change, this deck has pretty even with high and low scales. Low scales are anything below 4, and high scale is anything above 4. And this is pretty balanced. I'm not gonna count them out for you guys because that would take too long. But I think there's 13 high scales and like 11 low scales currently. If you wanted to maybe balance it out and get some more low scales, oh my god, Monkeyboard is the only good low scale. You could put like Dragon Pulse up to 3 if you wanted to, or put in another Master Pendulum if you wanted some more low scales. I don't tend to have that many problems with scales, I really don't. Anyways, on to the extra deck. So this deck is definitely flooded for extra deck space. 1 Draco's Dino Stars, he just protects. He's just a really nice Draco Slayer to make. And of course, making him, once you make Ignister, it's really easy to make him, and then you can make number 38. So I'm running him because it's just really easy to make this 38. And then Vortex Dragon. Vortex Dragon is great. He puts your Jokers back in your deck. He puts Monkeyboard back into your deck. He bounces a card when he's summoned, and he's level 7. We aren't running any rank 7s besides this guy. Probably should be running Big Eye, but most of the time I don't need to make it. Like I have more level 4s than I do level 7s. And honestly, like Odd Eyes, summoning out actually Pendulum Summon Odd Eyes, it's not too great. Like, I mean, there's better cards. There's definitely better cards. Like, I mean, there's Kieran that if I have Kieran, I'll try to Pendulum Summon him as much as I can. Instant Fusion for Norden is, of course, for Norden. He's just a monster reborn. We're running Meteor Burst and Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, so that way we can use Odd Eyes Fusion and Fusion Summon from our extra deck when our opponent controls 2 or more monsters. So it's just a really nice card that we can use to bait out strikes, bait out warnings, bait out all of the back row that they have. Or if they don't, then we can just summon out a free monster and have some nice negations. And number 38 is number 38. If you can't go for game, but you can make a rank 8, he's probably one of the better ones. He helps get rid of those spells, those pendulums, all that different stuff. And then Absolute Dragon is another Utopia. Utopia the Lightning is, of course, Utopia the Lightning. He's 2,500, puts him up to 5,000. He's an Omadi, it's just really nice. Dark Rebellion Dragon helps with OTKs. Utopia is used to make Utopia the Lightning. 101 is 101, and then Giant Hand. I'd like having Giant Hand in this deck because if I do go first and I don't really have much because I don't want to push and make it feel like I don't want to make Ignister turn 1. I'm never going to make Ignister turn 1. So I might try to go for a Giant Hand so that way I have some sort of stun on my side of the field. Hopefully I might have opened up with Solemn Strike or gotten Search or drew it, but probably didn't. So Giant Hands is just a great rank 4 that can be easily made. And of course more aggressive cards such as Castel, and then of course this is another card to make if you're going first, Paladin, so that way you can of course get off that search for maybe a Luster Pendulum or something else. And yeah, so that is pretty much for the extra deck. I can't think of any other cards that would really be decent in the deck. Like I don't want to put in Trap Hole, so we're not running Rafflesia. Like I said, Big Eye might be worth it. You could make Beatrice, but what would I'd rather make Bouncer with this guy, Photon Bouncer, than make Beatrice with this deck. But yeah, this deck is just kind of crazy. It is consistent, like you guys will see in the duels tomorrow, that this deck just does so much searching, and even if you don't see a Pot of Desires, like this deck can still compete because of the fact that there's so many scales that work with each other. It's just practically all the variants of pendulums in one deck, and this deck is crazy. I kind of don't want to see this deck get hurt by the ban list. This deck is just so fun to me, and I don't know why. Probably because I don't want to call it generic, because I mean it is an archetype, but it's creative. It's like Teledad to me. Like this deck I feel is like Teledad. How it's just a whole bunch of different stuff that work together. It's not like pure monarchs that just run monarchs and just set up the same way. Like this deck, it gets repetitive. Yes, all decks get repetitive, but I don't know how to explain this to you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.